So what do you do when you're so in the stress, you're so in the shit, you just can't seem to find your way out? It seems like life is so overbearing, you're barely keeping your head above water, all you can do is make it home exhausted, tired, and just immediately regretting the next day. And it feels like you're completely stuck. And your only hope is that eventually the madness will end. What can you do? The mistake that I see a lot of people make is thinking that's actually going to end. And in most circumstances it doesn't end, it continues, it continues, it continues. And that's because you essentially created your own nightmare here. There's certain things that you may have done intentionally, not intentionally, but you just haven't managed the stress of life in an effective way. And that's why you feel so stuck. And it seems like if only work got less crazy, if things start to slow down, I'm fine to be able to do things that I want to do. And the reality is, for most people, that's never, ever, ever going to happen. And usually actually just gets worse based off the kind of economy and how things are going. People end up working more hours, having more stress, less free time, more responsibilities. And so hoping for the light end of the tunnel without actively creating it yourself, if that's your strategy, I wish you the best of luck. I just haven't seen that to be reality. So what do you do to get unstuck? You have to find different ways to manage your stress in your life. You have to find different ways to cope besides using food in order to feel better. And it can be really challenging when you have no energy, you're so tired, you're overwhelmed, and you just can't seem to muster up any motivation, any willpower to do anything. Because all you want to do is lay on the couch, zone out in front of the TV or Netflix, watch a movie, have some wine, and go to bed. And when you wake up, you just dread the day coming up. It's like the worst. You just wish you just rather just crawl in bed and die instead. And so the challenge is, how do you actually start to create some momentum? How do you create the snowball effect in which you kind of have to unstuck yourself? And that is simply by taking a small step in the right direction. And I mean literal step. And so one of the first things I do with my clients who are in that position, go for a 5-minute walk. It may not seem like that's a lot, it may not seem like it's gonna do anything, but a 5-minute walk, as opposed to sitting down on the couch, is a tremendous improvement. And so what's gonna happen is, once you start going for a walk, it's allow you to breathe, it's allow you to calm down, it's allow you to reduce some of your stress, reduce some of your anxiety. And that in and of itself is allow you to make better decisions. Because most of the decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis when we're really stressed out and overwhelmed are reactive. We rely on our emotional impulse, and that's why food is so hard to break the habit of eating when we're stressed and eating when we're sad or overwhelmed, because it's an immediate fix. But if you get yourself in a better mindset, I'm using that term loosely, to reduce the stress, reduce the overwhelm, you're gonna start making better decisions about food. And so once you start going for a 5-minute walk, you go for a 10-minute walk, you start introducing better methods of managing your stress. You start journaling, you start meditating, you start intentionally, consciously breathing, which is most people don't do. Most people take very short breaths because they're very high blood pressure, very anxious, they become very high chest breathers. What happens is it actually increases your stress, increases your overwhelm. And so once you start focus a little more on conscious breathing, being more present, being more mindful, you're gonna become a little more peaceful. Things are gonna be able to slow down for you. Things aren't gonna be as fast and as overwhelming. And once you get in a better headspace, then you can actually start realizing that a lot of the things that seem so out of control in your life are actually in your control, because you're seeing things from a different perspective of less stress and less overwhelm. And so if you're feeling stuck, my advice would be to simply go for a walk and start off extremely small in a way that's not very threatening. What people try to do is they try to put together this perfect plan, working out 5 days a week, the perfect diet, and with all the stress and overwhelm in their life already, that leads to more stress and more overwhelm, because that's such a high commitment. So I'm not saying don't be committed, what I'm saying is focus on creating a plan for yourself that's low entry threat. It's very relatively simple to do. It allows you to feel good about it. You can create some confidence, create some inspiration for yourself so you can take the next step. And from then on, you can build forward. But don't do too much too soon, because you got enough stress in your life. You don't want to have more stress, right? And so what we're trying to do is decrease the stress by taking small, actionable steps moving forward so you can unstuck yourself, so you can reduce all that stress and overwhelm in your life, so you can start making better decisions about food, so you can start losing weight. So it has to be a small approach with a big dream in the end. But the mistake that too many people make is try to do too much too soon. They put so much pressure on themselves, they give up, and they're back to being stuck. So some words of encouragement and advice. It's a beautiful Tuesday in Chicago, almost my birthday. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.